Welcome to the Brewing series. Chapter 1. Parts and Accessories. Brewing is a compact, automatic beer brewing machine that connects to your home electricity and optionally your water system. Brewing consists of two main tanks, the boiling tank on the left and the mashing tank on the right side. Between them, you can see 4 hopping tanks, which contain the hops during brewing. On the front panel, Brewing has a touchscreen. This is Brewing's brain. On Brewing's back panel, you can find Brewing's main switch, the water inlet, and 2 outlets, one for cooling water and one for your wort. On the right side, Brewing has a power button, and on the left side, a drain button. The package that contains Brewing also includes 1 false bottom. Before every brew, you need to place it inside the mashing tank to avoid burning of the malt bags. 4 hop cages, which will contain the hops of your recipes. 3 hoses, the high-pressure hose for the water inlet, and the 2 low-pressure hoses, one for the cooling water and one for draining the wort and the cleaning water. 3 mashing bags if you want to use your own ingredients. 8 cleaning detergents and a sponge for cleaning. The detergents are to be placed in the machine at specific cleaning programs, while the sponge helps you scrub off the sediment left on the tanks after brewing. Your warranty card and a quick setup guide. We recommend that you start brewing with a Brewing pad. These are pre-assembled packages that include everything you need for your first brew. The recipes of these beers will always be uploaded to Brewing's recipe menu. The Brewing pads include all ingredients for their respective recipes. The malt in a Brewing bag for one use, the hops in separate marked bags, the yeast for the fermentation. A few recipes might need special ingredients, CG tablets, spices, sugars, or dry hops. In all these cases, instructions are added to each package. To see how to set up your Brewing, move on to Chapter 2. Welcome to the Brewing series. Chapter 2. Setting up your Brewing. When you set up your Brewing, place it on an even horizontal surface and make sure that all 4 legs of the machine stand still. First, connect the Brewing's power cable to a power plug. Brewing takes up to 1800 watts, so make sure that the respective plug is able to provide electricity. Then, connect the high-pressure hose to the Brewing's water inlet. Water will be added through this hose, not only for brewing, but even for the cooling phase. Brewing gives you the option to add water manually, but if the high-pressure hose is unconnected, you will not be able to cool down your wort. The 2 low-pressure water hoses are to be connected to the 2 water outlets. One is the outlet for cooling water, which needs to be connected to your sewage system. Brewing can cool down your wort to any temperature, with the added water temperature plus 5 Celsius as the lowest. The other outlet is where you can drain your wort from your machine. This outlet will also drain the cleaning water or any remaining water from the tanks, which can also drain into your sewage system or a container of your choice. Brewing is compatible to all fermentation devices. While first setting up the Brewing, take out the hop cages and the false bottom. These are stainless steel accessories, which can be washed by hand or in a dishwasher. We recommend cleaning them before your first brew. To turn on your Brewing, you first have to turn the main switch to standby mode. Next, push the power button on the right side of the machine until you hear a small beeping sound. When Brewing is turned on, connect to a Wi-Fi network. Always connect your Brewing to a network. This will make sure that the latest software is downloaded. When a network was used by Brewing, it will automatically connect every time you turn it on. After turning on your Brewing for the first time, you have to run a first safety cleaning program. If you have to abort the program, don't worry. Just run a short clean program from the extras menu. Brewing includes a highly sensitive weight sensor. To calibrate the machine, press the home button, choose the settings menu and calibration. The program consists of 2 steps. At the first step, you have to add an amount of water between 7,000 and 10,000 grams, or 247 and 353 ounces. Don't forget to pour in all drops. Every gram counts. When Brewing finishes with the first step, it will instruct you to add exactly 2,000 grams, or 70.5 ounces of water. After calibration, Brewing will let you drain the remaining water when you are ready. For every brew, you can choose to add mashing and sparging water automatically or manually. If automatic water inlet is chosen, Brewing will let water to the boiling tank from your connected household water system. If you have chosen manual water inlet, you have to add your mashing and sparging water to the boiling tank when Brewing instructs you. To learn what your Brewing is capable of, have a look at Chapter 3. Welcome to the Brewing series. Chapter 3. Brewing's Menu and Settings. Since Brewing is an automatic digital brewing device, the display is the brain and user-friendly instruction center of the machine. The touchscreen can take you to any settings or functions that you would like. To reach the main menu, press the icon in the upper right corner of the home window. Here, the menu gives you 4 destinations. Home will take you back to the home screen. Recipes will take you to the recipes menu, from when you can choose the beer recipe you wish to brew with, or add a new recipe. Whichever recipe you choose, you can see and modify its details by pressing the Brewing option, or start the brewing process with the orange Brew button at the bottom of the screen. If you wish to create a new recipe, you have to first add the name of the recipe. When it is given, you can modify the now blank recipe settings on 4 screens. The first lets you define the volume and starting temperature of mashing and sparging water, as well as the sparging's length. On the second screen, you will be able to differentiate subphases of mashing at different temperatures for different lengths. After adding the mashing temperatures, you can carry on and add the length of boiling with different hops. You can add 4 different settings for the 4 hop cages of the machine. You can also delay hopping if you wish to keep the water boiling for some time. Once hopping is adjusted, you can also choose a cooling time to which your Brewing will cool down the wort. Take note that you cannot cool down the wort to a lower temperature than the original water inlet plus 5 degrees Celsius. In the extras, you can find the 3 different cleaning options, of which you can learn more about in Chapter 6 of the Brewing series. You can also find here 2 different draining options, of which you can learn more about in Chapter 5. Also, the unclogging program is to be found here. This can help you get rid of smaller or bigger clogs in the tube or valve system of the machine. Lastly, the menu includes the settings option. The following options are to be found here. Wi-Fi, which helps you connect to different Wi-Fi networks. Units, in which you can choose to use metric or imperial units during your brewing. Time, to set your current local time. Water settings, to double check if you have properly connected the water inlets and outlets. And calibration, which is a crucial and frequent task for brewing. You can learn more about calibration in Chapter 2 of the Brewing series. To learn more about brewing, carry on to Chapter 4. Brewing series. Chapter 4. Brewing. Brewing, as the first fully automatic beer brewing device, needs almost as much of a human input as a microwave or a washing machine might need. Before starting a batch, remember to have your machine calibrated well. You might want to recalibrate the Brewing after every few batches. To know more about calibration, watch Chapter 2 of the Brewing series. To start brewing, you need to add the ingredients to the machine. Remember to always put the false bottom into the mashing tank before putting in the Brewing bag. It will help you avoid any burn marks on the machine's surface. Brewing is compatible with your own ingredients or with pre-assembled Brewing pads. Always use a standard Brewing bag or a not reusable bag from a Brewing pad to store the malt. Put all the hops in their respective hop cages and push the cages into the appropriate hopping tanks. Choose the proper recipe from the recipe menu, or create a new one by pressing Creating New Recipe. To learn more about recipes, see Chapter 3 of the Brewing series. Check your recipe. It must include the temperature and length of different mashing steps and different hopping steps, the length and amount of sparging, if needed, and the goal temperature for your cooling. When you want to start brewing, Brewing will remind you to choose between automatic and manual water inlet. If manual inlet is chosen, it will remind you at the appropriate phases to add the water to the boiling tank. After double-checking the ingredients and other settings, the machine will start brewing. The first step is mashing. In this phase, Brewing will pour the preheated mashing water on the malt. During this time, the malt releases proteins and sugars. The malts affect the flavor, color, and gravity of the finished beer. After mashing, the optional sparging water phase commences. Sparging can lift the yield of the wort, but also dilutes it. When all possible materials are washed out of the malt during mashing and sparging, the boiling phase will start. Brewing heats up the wort, which will help it getting pasteurized and will precipitate a high amount of proteins. During hopping, the water is pumped through the hop cages, adding the valuable oils and aromas of the hops to the wort. Brewing is able to add 4 different hopping times to its wort. You can add delayed hopping to leave the wort boiling before the actual hopping starts. Once hopping has finished, your wort is ready to be cooled down. You can choose any temperature that is over the original water inlet plus 5 degrees Celsius to have your wort cooled to. Your brewery will display when the cooling is done and the wort is ready for draining and fermentation. If you wish to know more about draining and fermentation, take a look at Chapter 5. Welcome to the Brewing series. Chapter 5. Draining and Fermentation. Brewing compatible with any kinds of fermentation equipment. To start fermentation, you have to drain the wort from the tanks. Brewing will automatically give you the option for draining once the cooling ended. If you had to abort this option by any reason, you will find the draining programs in the Extras menu. Please, take note to always check that the draining hose is connected properly to the machine, and the fermenting equipment is always on a lower level than brewing. Draining after brew will drain the wort from your brewing, but in this case, the sediment will stay at the bottom of the boiling tank. If you wish to use the sediment for the fermentation, choose Drain All. Whichever fermentation method you are using, always take care of cleaning and keeping your equipment clean. Whatever type of beer you are brewing, always thoroughly sanitize the bucket or tank in which fermentation will take place, the draining tube, and any other accessories that might get in contact with the wort. After draining the wort, pitch the yeast for the primary fermentation into the wort. Try to divide the yeast evenly. You may even sprinkle it with a still draining wort to make it more effective. Primary fermentation usually starts 24 hours after pitching and continues for 7 to 14 days, depending on the beer's type. In this phase, alcohol and aromas are made by the yeast from sugars. After that, beer is usually bottled or kegged with some added sugars and put away for maturing. This way, the remaining yeast produces more carbon dioxide and the aromas in the beer will come together. To learn more about cleaning your brewery, click on Chapter 6. Welcome to the Brewing series. Chapter 6. Cleaning. Cleaning your brewery is a crucial part of preparing for the next batch of beer. Brewing is a self-cleaning device that needs only a small amount of human input. But always remember to scrub all the tanks when substance stays on the walls where the wort was highest. Brewing has 3 main cleaning programs. If manual water inlet was chosen, Brewing will instruct you to add the needed amount of water to the boiling tank. Whichever program you choose, Brewing will guide you through its steps and instruct you if any manual activity is needed. Before you start the programs, take out all accessories from the brewie. Short clean is a quick program, which consists of mostly rinsing out the brewie's inner tube and valve system and the hops tank. During sanitizing clean, brewie heats up the cleaning water to 90 degrees Celsius. It will circulate the water on this temperature. Use sanitizing clean if you're planning to have or already had longer pause between batches. Full clean includes rinsing and sanitizing as well, but on a lower temperature and for a longer time. Use the full clean after every 5th brewing or if you plan to set aside your brewie for weeks or even months. During the full clean program, brewie will remind you to use the washing tablets and to which compartment you should add them. Don't forget to clean your accessories as well. The hop cages and false bottom are all washable either manually or with washing machines. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed learning about brewing, take a look at our Knowledge Center at brewie.org. Cheers!